you know, because some folks really love drama and some folks really love having stuff that puts a wall between them and you. So there's some implied status, you know. I want to try to do my thing.
Yeah.
You know, you found a way to do your thing.
Robert Downey Jr. does not need to speak in sound bites. When RDJ moves, Hollywood pays attention. And lately, he's been moving with purpose, walking away from Ryan Reynolds and everything that comes with him. For those who still believe the feud is just speculation, think again. Downey's refusal to cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't just a scheduling conflict, it was a message. And the message was crystal clear. Ryan Reynolds is not who you think he is.
And if we're imagining, then obviously the only conclusion that we can come to, the only thing that makes sense is that Blake and Ryan are still totally deluded. Like, they have committed to this. It is now a faith, okay? They are certain that when this movie came out and people began reporting on her negatively.
For a man like RDJ, who rebuilt his career from rock bottom and earned his place as a cultural icon, integrity matters. And according to mounting industry whispers, Ryan Reynolds crossed the line, not once, but repeatedly, in ways that have made even the most seasoned Hollywood insiders cringe. Let's rewind. It started quietly. In the early stages of Deadpool 3, Reynolds was reportedly desperate to lock down an Iron Man cameo. Writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick had even penned scenes specifically for Tony Stark, banking on Reynolds' charm and Marvel's nostalgia factor to rope Downey in. But instead of caving, RDJ flat out rejected the offer.
Here's what I think. Right. They go through a few semi-lackluster Avengers movies without you.
That rejection alone raised eyebrows. But it wasn't just about declining a cameo. It was the way RDJ declined. No public statements, no coy hints, just an eerie silence followed by headlines that confirmed he'd chosen to return to Marvel not as a cameo, but as Victor Von Doom. Power move? Absolutely. And that's when insiders began whispering something darker, that the tension between Reynolds and Downey wasn't new. In fact, there were signs all along. Downey isn't just Hollywood royalty. He's Hollywood reborn. After clawing his way back from addiction, arrests, and being blacklisted by studios, he rebuilt himself brick by brick. He earned his seat at the table not through Instagram gags or snarky Super Bowl ads, but through grit and growth. So when he looks across the room and sees someone like Reynolds, all polished image and crowd-pleasing PR antics.
Well, Ryan Reynolds on the Enneagram is a psycho. That's what he is. He's just a psycho. His number is psycho.
It doesn't land the same. Where Downey bleeds sincerity, Reynolds bleeds strategy. And RDJ, who's seen the real side of fame, reportedly couldn't stomach the performative smiles any longer. According to several entertainment insiders, RDJ was not amused by how Reynolds allegedly tried to manipulate press narratives behind the scenes. Some sources claim RDJ had long grown tired of Reynolds' reputation as the nicest guy in Hollywood, a persona carefully cultivated through social media banter, charity campaigns, and self-deprecating humor. Downey, who values authenticity over optics, reportedly found the facade exhausting and fake. Though Downey hasn't spoken publicly about Reynolds, fans noticed that he avoided joint appearances, interviews, and even Avengers crossover events where Reynolds was present. In a town as interconnected as Hollywood, that kind of deliberate distance speaks volumes. Ryan Reynolds isn't just an actor, he's a one-man marketing empire, someone who understands that in today's Hollywood, controlling the narrative is more valuable than a blockbuster opening weekend. From viral ads to viral feuds, Reynolds has turned every opportunity, real or staged, into a moment of brand reinforcement. And he's made enemies because of it. TJ Miller famously swore off working with Reynolds after claiming he was humiliated on set.
Would I work with him again? No.
No.
I would not work.
Tim Miller, who directed the first Deadpool, left the sequel due to creative clashes with Ryan.
And everyone was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then as the character, he was like horrifically mean to me. But to me.
Cathartic.
As if I'm Weasel.
Morena Baccarin hesitated to return for Deadpool 3, citing stalled contract negotiations and feeling undervalued. Even behind the laughter, there's tension. These aren't just isolated incidents, they're patterns. Over and over again, people who work closely with Ryan Reynolds end up walking away, often in silence. And when things go south, Reynolds tends to spin the fallout with surgical PR precision. He posts a joke, makes a charming talk show appearance, drops a viral campaign, and suddenly he's back on top. But not everyone buys it anymore. And Robert Downey Jr. certainly doesn't. One industry source close to the situation claims Reynolds went too far in trying to secure Downey's participation. There were repeated back-channel messages. Mutual friends pressured to vouch, even carefully timed media leaks suggesting the deal was close. Downey didn't like that. This wasn't the first time Reynolds was accused of stepping on legends to boost his spotlight. Sources say he's been subtly rewriting the Deadpool brand as the center of Marvel's future, whether or not others agreed. When reports circulated that he was trying to make Deadpool the new Iron Man, more than a few insiders rolled their eyes.
Honestly, it's my greatest calling in this weird business of show business. I love playing Deadpool. I think it sort of translates on the screen too. I think people.
And to Downey, it likely wasn't just disrespectful, it was tacky. Reynolds wasn't honoring Marvel's legacy. He was trying to hijack it. For a man who's fought to reclaim control of his image, having someone else pull strings behind his back was a breach. RDJ reportedly felt Reynolds was attempting to leverage his legacy, using the Iron Man name to boost Deadpool's Marvel credibility without respecting the boundaries. And that's when Downey shut the door completely. Not only did he reject the role, but he signed a massive deal to play Dr. Doom, stepping into a new era of Marvel villainy while making it abundantly clear he doesn't need Deadpool and he doesn't need Ryan Reynolds. But Ryan isn't acting alone. Blake Lively's polished, witty persona has been equally dependent on tightly curated PR. She's long been dubbed a PR strategist in stilettos, and according to those close to the industry, she's just as calculated, if not more, than her husband. The difference? Blake doesn't fight her public battles. Ryan does it for her.
That they thought Ryan Reynolds was so abusive. I think he would say, I was standing up for my wife who'd been harassed by this guy and so on, but what role did he have in all of this?
And that brings us to the It Ends With Us disaster. Blake was cast opposite Justin Baldoni, who was also directing the project. It should have been a slam dunk. But before filming could hit full stride, Blake dropped a harassment complaint that sent shockwaves through the industry. Within days, Baldoni's talent agency dumped him. His reputation collapsed in record time. But then, Baldoni hit back and hit hard. His lawsuit, demanding $400 million, didn't just name Blake. It pulled Ryan Reynolds into the spotlight, accusing him of defamation, sabotage, and allegedly whispering damaging rumors to execs to destroy Baldoni's career. The most chilling accusation?
Actor-director Justin Baldoni is now suing his former co-star Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, seeking more than $400 million in damages, accusing them
that the Reynolds-Lively machine fed false tips to major outlets, including the New York Times, to frame Baldoni as a predator. The lawsuit flipped the script. Suddenly, Blake's feminist credibility was in question. Was this about justice or control? Was the complaint about safety or seizing creative power? The court of public opinion split down the middle, but one thing was clear. Ryan Reynolds had once again stepped in, allegedly using his clout and contacts to bulldoze the narrative in Blake's favor. And to Hollywood veterans like RDJ, it wasn't just distasteful, it was dangerous. In an industry where perception is everything, the cracks in the Reynolds-Lively empire are finally beginning to show. Martha Stewart, who once fawned over Ryan, recently shaded him during an interview, suggesting he's not funny off-screen and hinting at a very different personality than fans see online.
We're back. All right, so Ryan Reynolds may be known for his humor, but Martha Stewart says that in real life, he's not so funny.
Even celebrities once seen as allies are keeping their distance. Morena Baccarin hasn't offered support. Tim Miller hasn't vouched for Ryan. And while Taylor Swift's team shut down rumors of a split with Blake, the silence in their friendship circle during the Baldoni firestorm spoke louder than any statement. Meanwhile, social media has been on fire. Hashtags like Ryan Reynolds' real face and Reynolds exposed are gaining traction, with fans dissecting old interviews and resurfacing stories from the set. The narrative is shifting, and Reynolds' PR machine is struggling to keep up. And now, enter Robert Downey Jr., aka the one star Reynolds couldn't spin, couldn't charm, and couldn't co-opt. Robert Downey Jr. isn't one for tabloid wars. He doesn't need a Twitter rant or a Notes app apology. But in this case, his silence is the statement. His decision to walk away from Deadpool and jump headfirst into Dr. Doom was a seismic shift in Marvel's power dynamics. It wasn't just a casting move, it was a declaration of independence. A reminder that true power isn't about viral posts or witty tweets. It's about legacy, integrity, and choosing your battles wisely.
New mask. Same task.
And Ryan Reynolds, he just picked the wrong opponent. Sources close to RDJ say he sees the Reynolds Lively operation for what it is, a brand machine that eats reputations and spits out headlines, and he wants no part of it. Where others bent for PR favor, RDJ stood tall. Where others chased popularity, he chased purpose. And in doing so, he exposed the uncomfortable truth that many in Hollywood have whispered, but few dared to say aloud. Ryan Reynolds isn't the hero of this story, not to the castmates who walked away, not to the directors who couldn't work with him, and certainly not to Robert Downey Jr. In Hollywood, power is perception, and when someone as respected as RDJ rejects your advances on principle, the ripple effects are massive. For years, Reynolds controlled his image like a master puppeteer, but now the strings are starting to fray, and with each new revelation, each lawsuit, each silent snub, the Reynolds Lively brand looks less like Hollywood royalty and more like a house of cards. Robert Downey Jr. didn't just say no, he drew a line in the sand. And for Ryan Reynolds, a man who built his empire on charm, control, and carefully edited Instagram captions, this may be the beginning of the end, because when Iron Man walks away, the world follows.